Hello everyone and welcome back to KORR Monsters. This week we are in Minneapolis, Minnesota for the final stop before KORR Monsters Finals 10. Our field of trucks for this event features Herbert Miller in Airborne Assault, Ed Jenkins in Comedic Gaskets, Fred Malone in Damage Control, Joe Johnston in Get Wrecked, Greg Easton in Monkey Business, Huxley Baxter in Moving Violation, Logan Hopkins in Nemesis, former racing champion Kinsley Parks in NGK Igniter, three-time freestyle champion Opal Baxter in Reckless Red, Will Baldwin in Snowcat, Curtis Sparks in Wildcat, and rounding out the field, Henry Gibbons in Youngblood. Now to get us started here tonight, we're going to go into racing, starting off with the four trucks getting the bye run into round number 2, those being Youngblood, Moving Violation, Damage Control, and Get Wrecked. But before we get to those trucks, we have to go through round number 1 of racing, which is going to see Reckless Red going up against Wildcat, Airborne Assault going up against Snowcat, NGK Igniter going up against Monkey Business, and ending off round number 1 of racing, we'll see Comedic Gaskets going up against Nemesis. Now pulling up to the line, we have Reckless Red and Wildcat, and away they go. Great launch out of both trucks. Coming around the first turn, looking pretty close so far. Slight edge. Well, I was going to say slight edge to Reckless Red, but Wildcat made it up in the air, coming around to the finish, and it's going to be Wildcat. Yes, Wildcat getting the win here over Reckless Red. Next up, Airborne Assault going up against Snowcat. Wait on that light, and Snowcat absolutely drills Airborne Assault off the line. Around for the first jump, Snowcat about a 2-truck lead right now. Huge lead for Snowcat. Coming to the line, it's going to be Snowcat getting a very easy win here in round number 1. Airborne Assault, no factor at all. Snowcat gets into trouble, but keeps it on all 4 wheels. There's next up NGK Igniter versus Monkey Business. An identical start out of the 2 trucks. Around the first turn, Monkey Business a little wide. And across the line the first time, slight advantage to NGK Igniter. Now coming to the line, it's going to be close, but it's going to be Igniter getting the win. Moving on into round number 2. Good race there from Monkey Business. Just not quite enough. So we finish off round number 1 of racing. Comedic Gaskets versus Nemesis. So far, looking good out of these 2 trucks. Coming across the line the first time. It's going to be Comedic, about half a truck advantage over Nemesis. Coming to the line, it's going to be all Comedic Gaskets, picking up the win, moving into round number 2. Now we take a look at the bracket for round number 2. It'll be Youngblood going up against Wildcat, Moving Violation going up against Snowcat, Damage Control going up against NGK Igniter, and then Get Wrecked going up against Comedic Gaskets. Now pulling up to the line first, Youngblood versus Wildcat. And away they go. Youngblood a little quicker on the tree. Into the first turn, Wildcat a little wide. But slight advantage for Wildcat. Coming around the final turn now. It's going to be close at the line. It's going to be Wildcat picking up the win, though. Good race out of those 2 trucks. Now Moving Violation and Snowcat pull up to the line. Waiting on the green light. Great start out of both trucks. Coming around the first turn. Looks like Moving Violation has a lead on Snowcat. Coming around for the last turn, Snowcat has some ground to make up. Coming to the line, it's going to be Moving Violation just barely over Snowcat. Snowcat almost running out of room to stop. Next up, Damage Control versus NGK Igniter. Good start out of both trucks. Igniter a little bit quicker on that tree. Oh, both of them clipping a car at the exact same time. Coming around to the finish. Damage Control clipping another car, almost misses the ramp. And NGK Igniter gets the win. Moving on into round number 3. Next up, Get Wrecked versus Comedic Gaskets. Great launch out of these two trucks. Once again, these drivers absolutely on that tree tonight. And coming around the first time, Get Wrecked with the advantage right now. That left lane proving to be a little quicker. Comedic Gaskets clipped a car. That's going to seal his fate. Maybe he made it in the race at the end, but Get Wrecked still getting the win. Moving on into the next round. And now looking at our bracket, it'll be Wildcat versus Moving Violation, and then NGK Igniter versus Get Wrecked. Pulling up to the line, Wildcat and Moving Violation. And great start out of both trucks. As we come to the line, Moving Violation clipped a car. Wildcat with about a truck length advantage. Both trucks a little wide in the last turn. Coming to the line, it's going to be Wildcat picking up the win going into the finals here. Now second to last race of the night, NGK Igniter going up against Get Wrecked. And Get Wrecked a little quicker on the tree there. Coming around for the first time. Looks like Igniter might have an advantage. No, almost dead even at the line. It's all going to come down to this turn. Oh, it's going to be close, but Igniter's going to get the win, and up and over she goes. Have to see if that truck's damaged in any way, if it can come back for the finals. And waiting on the bracket, and no, she cannot. It'll be Wildcat going up against Get Wrecked in the finals here. NGK Igniter apparently broke something in the suspension on that crash. These two trucks make their way into the first turn. Looking pretty even so far. Coming to the line, almost a dead heat. Slight advantage to Wildcat. Coming around the last turn. Great turn out of both trucks. Wildcat clips a car, goes up and over. Get Wrecked gets the win. First career win for him here in KORR Monsters as Wildcat goes for a ride at the end. But first career win for Joe Johnston in Get Wrecked. Love to see that, but now we're moving on into Freestyle. Wildcat supposed to go out first. I doubt he's coming back with how big of a crash that was, however. So first truck out should be Monkey Business. Then we'll go into Nemesis, Snowcat, Get Wrecked, Youngblood, Moving Violation, Comedic Gaskets, Damage Control, Airborne Assault, NGK Igniter, and then to end us off, reigning freestyle champion, Reckless Red. Now coming out first, Greg Easton in Monkey Business. Wildcat indeed got way too much damage in that crash to come out to freestyle. But Monkey Business getting us started with a great slap wheelie across most of the floor. Of course, last event before finals, a lot of these drivers still trying to get their spot earned for finals. Quite a few openings right now. Monkey Business, one of those trucks, does not currently have a spot at finals. Needs a good showing here. Didn't have it in racing. Needs to put on a good show here in freestyle. So we get a set of donuts out of him. Just a few rotations. And another great slap wheelie out of Monkey Business, up and over. Can he save it? No. On his lid, way too much time left. Only a 14 for Monkey Business. As next up, Logan Hopkins comes out in Nemesis. Had a pretty good showing in racing. Didn't win any races, but had a great finish with Comedic Gaskets. And getting us started with a little slap wheelie. Now this is the end of his second year driving this truck. We've been seeing some improvements out of him. So he goes for the double, good little roller through it. Not a lot of elevation. But Logan's definitely been improving over these last 2 years, but definitely needs to improve more if he wants to win. Great air off the racing lane. Around looking for his next hit, goes right for that bus stack and almost puts it on the wheelie bar there, but not quite enough throttle to put it on it. Coming around looking for that next hit. He's going to cross-thread the bus stack. Oh, buries the front end into the van stack, up and over. He's going to go. It's going to be a 15 for Nemesis. Once again, way too much time left on the clock. As now we have Will Baldwin coming out in Snowcat. Big Hemi-powered cat. And doesn't really commit to that wheelie. And looking for his next hit. Killing a lot of clock right now. Good air over that van stack. And combos it up with another van stack. And now get some great air off that bus stack. Will Baldwin, of course, not only known for driving Snowcat, but also for building chassis for a few competitors. Eagle Eye runs one of these chassis. So we get a set of Cyclones now out of him. These chassis known to be very good race trucks. However, they do kind of fall apart a little bit in freestyle. Puts it right on the tailgate, gets into trouble. Brings it right back down onto all four wheels. Only about 15 seconds left on the clock right now for Will. First truck to go for the big ramp. Got some good air off of it, but not too much. Time for one more hit here. Goes for the double, and he comes up way short on that. And clock's expired, but he's going to keep on going here. Walks a wheelie over the bus stack. And looks like he's going to try to set up for another wheelie here. Yes, he is. Oh, gets tripped up by that little bump. And looks like he's going to shut it down there. It's going to be an 18 for Snowcat to take the lead here. As next up, our racing winner, Joe Johnston in Get Wrecked. First career KORR Monsters win in his second year of driving. We've been seeing him improve a lot over these last couple of years. Quickly growing in to a very good freestyler, also a pretty good racer at that too. Of course, teammates with Fred Malone in Damage Control, running the old Damage Control chassis. And making that old girl work. Fits his driving style really well. A little crooked in the air. No harm, no foul on that landing though. And now looks like he's going to take his turn at a slap wheelie here. Great air off that car stack, whether he was going for it or not. And it looks like he was not going for a slap wheelie. Just some good air off those cars. Cross thread on the bus stack. Just like we saw out of Nemesis, except he clears it. Well, maybe not clears it. He still came up short. But he's still rolling. "22 seconds left on the clock. What has he got left for us? Some more good air. A little twist in the air. And brings it back down onto all four wheels. Could have gotten into trouble there if he wasn't patient with the throttle. And now Get Wrecked going for a cross thread. Big sky wheelie. Walks it, tries to go over the bus stack, and he's going to. Well, he kind of falls off the side of it, but he's still going. Clock's full. Goes for the double, also going to come up short. But Joe Johnston, Get Wrecked, maybe punching his ticket for finals here. Getting a set of donuts out of him. Positioning was not that good, though. Clips to that ramp. And he's still going to keep on going here. Another cross thread out of him. Time's been expired now for a little while. He's going to park it up on the bus. Gets a 23 from the judges. Not a huge score, but enough to take the lead. As now we have Henry Gibbons coming out in Youngblood. The only Toyota in the field. Getting us started with some good air. Followed up by a little hit on that car stack. Now some more good air going over the bus stack. And looks like he's going to go for a slap wheelie here off that other car stack. And puts it right on the bumper. You can see the dust getting kicked up by the wheelie bar. Lining up for that bus stack again. Huge air going over it. Coming up about halfway through this run for Henry and Youngblood. More great air going over that big ramp. Combos it up with the van stacks. Gets into trouble. Up onto two. Up onto the other two. And back onto all four. Coming down to the last 30 seconds on the clock. Great run so far out of Youngblood. Definitely on par with what we saw out of Get Wrecked. And good hit on the bus stack going the other direction. And looks like he's going to take his turn cross-threading the van stack. Huge wheelie. Rough landing though. Truck looks to be okay. No, it looks like he broke the rear sway bar. Time's about to fill. Judges may or may not count this last hit. Great air. Gets into trouble. Clips the big ramp. Up and over. He's going to go. And back onto all four wheels. What a save out of Henry Gibbons and Youngblood. It's going to be a 23 from the judges. Not enough to take the lead, but enough to tie for the lead. Have to wonder if they actually counted that save or not. But next up, Huxley Baxter in moving violation. We haven't seen him much this year. In fact, this might be the first show for him. So we'll have to see what he has for us. Starting us off, good hit on the bus stack into a slap wheelie. Looking for that next hit. Huge air off what used to be the racing lane into another slap wheelie right back onto the bumper. Now something new for moving violation. In the offseason, he fully rebuilt the chassis, hacked a bunch of parts off of it. Truck's got new shock towers, a new cradle. So it's effectively a new chassis. Basically just kept the cab and the frame rails. So far, looks like it's working pretty good for him. Made it to the semifinals in racing, getting some pretty good hits here in freestyle. Coming down last 30 seconds of freestyle. And he's going to take his turn at the double. Just going to roll through. Gets a little bit of air coming out of it, though. And going for another slap wheelie here. Right back on the bumper. Gets tripped up, and over. Not going to save that. Second truck now we've seen do that tonight. It's going to be a 20 for moving violation. As next up, Ed Jenkins coming out in Cometic gaskets. It's Ed's last time driving Cometic gaskets. That contract up after finals, and he will not be driving Cometic at finals. That'll go to David Langford. So we'll see Ed Jenkins' new truck at finals. Not currently announced what it is. Great air off that bus stack. And another good slap wheelie. We're getting a lot of great slap wheelies tonight here. So far, this momentum is crazy out of Ed. More huge air. Just going hit to hit to hit. And cross thread now over the van stacks. 40 seconds left on the clock. Goes for the double. Comes up just a little short. Puts it into a slap wheelie. Gets tripped up by the other van stack and brings it back down. Now gonna line up for something here. Goes for a cross thread on the bus stack. Huge air. And rips the rear housing out of the truck. The rear housing almost passed him. It'll be a 24 from the judges. Way too much time left on the clock. Do anything else with that. But what a wreck there out of Cometic gaskets at Jenkins. Next up, Damage Control driven by Fred Malone. Saw his teammate earlier, had the lead up until, well, just that run. Also won racing. So gotta imagine Fred wants a piece of that. Coming out, gonna try top what he saw his teammate do and what he just saw Ed Jenkins do in Comedic Gaskets. So far, good start, good flow, little cross thread there. And going into a set of donuts now. Just a few rotations once again, only about 3 rotations. Another cross thread, more of a transfer on that one. And combos it up with another transfer, that little bump to the racing lane that time. Huge air off that van stack for Fred. "27 seconds left on the clock for Damage Control. More huge air. Hard landing on the side of the chassis. Looks like he broke a couple of 4-links. Looks like it was upper 4-links though. So there's going to be a lot of side-to-side movement in those axle housings. Oh, gets into trouble. Buries the front end into that van stack. Looks like he broke even more 4-links. His clock's going to expire on this hit. Gets into trouble. There goes the front drive shaft. And on his lid he goes. It'll be 25 for Damage Control. Good enough to take the lead here. About halfway through Freestyle. 5 points left, still on the top of the board. Because now we have Herbert Miller coming out in Airborne Assault. And gets some good air over that bus stack. We've been talking about this all year, with him not being all too happy with how this chassis is driving for him. As he's going to go for a cross thread almost right off the bat. Gets into trouble, up and onto all 4 wheels. What a save out of Herbert Miller in Airborne Assault. Now, after seeing a move like that, I want to put a preference on this. He's not complaining about how it drives for Freestyle, obviously, with how good he's been freestyling all year. He's just not a fan of how it drives in general, right onto the wheelie bar, back up onto 2 wheels. What a move out of Airborne Assault there. But not happy with how it races, and he feels like it could do better, so I know he's still got some parts he wants to throw at it. As he's going to back up for the double. Trying to make this chassis work for him how he wants it to. Huge air, clears the lane. No, he drove it down the landing ramp on the wheelie bar. Thought he cleared it. I saw that dust get kicked up. More huge air off the big ramp. Oh, gets into trouble up and over on his lid. Some fan just took a tailgate to the face, I'm hearing. But it'll be a 29 for Airborne Assault. Blows into the lead. And not a lot of room at the top. So now we have Kinsley Parks coming out. NGK Igniter, second to last truck. Farther into Freestyle than I thought we were. But Kinsley, very much known to be absolutely insane behind the wheel. We saw her last time out rip the rear housing out of this truck. Not quite to the degree we just saw at Comedic Gaskets, but still a spectacular wreck. She gets some great air off that van stack. Of course, won the racing championship all the way back in 2005, but much more known for the massive air she just got. Almost touching the ceiling here. Kinsley Parks absolutely throwing down. Just about 35 seconds left on the clock. Herbert Miller got to be sweating in that hot seat right now. He hasn't been there for long. He's hoping to stay there. But Kinsley's trying to make sure he doesn't. And another cross thread, gets into trouble. But back onto all 4 wheels for Kinsley Parks. Time for 1, maybe 2 more hits with the momentum she's had. Another great hit off that van stack. And she's going to go for another cross thread here. Ooh, there goes the rear end again. Back-to-back shows. She's going to rip the rear end out of this truck. But she's going to keep on going. Just front-wheel drive on this truck right now. She's dragging that rear end around. Ooh, gets into trouble there. Can she dig out of it? Yes, she can. She's trying to dump that thing onto its lid. The rear end's almost completely ripped out the back of that truck right now. Just buzzing the limiter in that truck up and over. She's finally going to go. It'll be a 27 for NGK Igniter. So it's good enough for second, but not enough to take the lead. So now we come up to Opal Baxter, Reckless Red, last truck coming out. 3-time freestyle champion, won it again last year. Little bit of controversy over whether she deserved it or not. But at the end of the day, judges said she's now a 3-time freestyle champion. And this is her second to last defense. She'll get to defend it one more time at finals. But we'll have to see how she does here tonight. Has a 29 to beat from Airborne Assault. So far, pretty good start to the run. Good air. Kind of lacking the momentum we saw out of NGK Igniter and Airborne Assault. But knowing Opal, she's going to ramp this up at some point. Just hopefully she doesn't flip it over early again like she's been doing these last couple of years. And she's going to line up, go for a big cross thread on the bus stack. Huge air from Reckless Red. And up and over she's going to go way too early. It's going to be a 15 for Opal Baxter and Reckless Red after what has to be the biggest air we've ever seen here in KORR Monsters. But with that, that means Herbert Miller is now a 2-time freestyle winner here in KORR Monsters with that 29. Followed by Kinsley Parks, NGK Igniter with a 27. Then Fred Malone bringing up third in Damage Control with a 25. Comedic Gaskets with a 24. Get Wrecked and Youngblood both with a 23. Moving Violation with a 20. Snowcat with an 18. Nemesis and Reckless Red with a 15. Monkey Business with a 14. And Wildcat, unfortunately, unable to freestyle here tonight after that huge wreck in racing. But as always, let us know what you thought about this show down in the comments below. And normally I say we'll see you in a couple of weeks, but first, let's take a look at our finals lineup, because that has now been finalized. All 24 trucks will be starting off with Herbert Miller in Airborne Assault, Mike Burton in Bull Tilt, Christian Holt in Busted Knuckles, David Langford in Comedic Gaskets, Kyle Gibson in Craftsman Tools, Fred Malone in Damage Control, Todd Yates in Doggone Crazy, Guy Neal in Flashover. Joe Johnston did indeed get an invite here tonight in Get Wrecked. Then it'll be Gene Martin in Gleason Confused, Mark Moody in Haas CNC, Jim Baxter in Howler, Harper Ray in Line X Defender, Kinsley Parks in NGK Igniter, Lonnie Hall in Rambunctious, Trip Cassidy in Rat Trap 6, Max Morgan in Reckless Abandon, Opal Baxter in Reckless Red, Adam Bell in Sassy Child, Mike Maxwell in Sharkbait, Ed Jenkins in a to-be-announced truck, Jack Schroeder in Try Me, Bill Taylor in Violator, and rounding out your KORR Monsters Finals 10 lineup, Henry Gibbons in Youngblood. And now with all of that announced, we will see you in 2 weeks for KORR Monsters Finals 10 Racing. We'll see you then.